sweeper.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
Welcome to the Detroit Lions pregame show, and I know it's just a Hall of Fame game, but I think we all can say football.
Dude, we needed it. Like we really needed it. And I'm not going to get too deep into it. The very uneventful moves by the Tigers today, I think we needed it even more. Justin, it doesn't mean a damn thing, but you know what? Gosh damn, it's going to be great to see them back on the field.
Yeah, I think you can't be picky when we're still in July and we're getting football. I am very, very excited just to see. I question the lineup that I've seen, the projections, because there's a couple players I do want to look out for, but at the end of the day, not the premier players are out there. And we're just going to be there for the looks, the vibes, and we're in the Hall of Fame game. And let's enjoy the fact that we get to start the season a little bit earlier than everyone else.
It's a great time. If you haven't been down there, like seriously, it's a really cool vibe. And Justin, the way it's configured, it's a glorified high school stadium, right? And when you're walking into the stadium and around like the whole facilities, like I'm not joking, oh, dude, there's Lawrence Taylor, like 3 feet from you. Oh, hey, look, there's Marshall Faulk. I mean, the proximity you are to a bunch of these, like, legends is unbelievable each and every year. But, no, I'm with you. I think the way this has changed, okay, it wasn't that long ago that I think a lot of coaches and a lot of the media were trying to turn this preseason football into something that it's not. Nobody's pretending anymore. And Dan Campbell's helping to lead the way. I'm playing anybody. Okay, I'm not. I mean, we know the routine last year with the three. I'm playing anybody, you know, and that's the case with tonight. But again, you know, Justin, for me, I think my hype moment tonight is when you hear that theme song. Dun, 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 dun. It's like all of a sudden it's like, okay, my pants are slowly coming off. I mean, that's the coolest thing about it. Football's back, okay, and I know it's not real. I know it's exhibition, but it's our Lions. And again, expectations have never been higher with this franchise, man.
Yeah, and it's great to have expectations. It's also great to have everyone in the audience here with us tonight. We appreciate it. If you could drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new here. The easiest way to get to us is if you drop a super chat, but we still will engage with the normal chat as always because Woodward Sports runs through the people. And through the people, we will come forward through this season. And I want to know, Sean, I know we're not going to dive too deep into it because we've said it's just the preseason. But who are some guys that you're hoping get some moderate playing time and you get to see? I mean, we're not talking anyone for starters, which is nice because we're actually in the era where this team is good enough to be looking at, you know, cornerback 5 position battles and that type of stuff. So is there anyone out there?
First and foremost for me, and I've felt this way for a long time, and as God is my witness, it's not based on any inside information or anything like that. I would tell you if it was, but I'm sorry. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out and read the tea leaves that Hendon Hooker has to worry about his job. And I even asked KG, before. And by the way, shout out to Buddies. You see what he's got right there? Shout out to Buddies. Cannot thank Buddies enough. What better way to bring in the new season, man?
Yeah, as well as BlackRock. Make sure you scan that QR code there. You can win a Traeger. I know that gets you hyped, Sean. I know you are a
Love my
big
Traeger
guy.
Love my BlackRock,
So is my dad. Shout out. My dad's watching. He told me to send him out. And he is also a huge Traeger guy. So shout out to all you. And you can go grill yourself your own barbecue, steak, whatever you'd like at BlackRock. So
I'm intrigued. I even asked KG. I said, because I'm not objective with this. I've convinced myself that Hendon Hooker's going to be gone. And I asked KG, I said, am I reading too much into this? The fact that Kyle Allen's starting. And KG, KG, he's going to he's going to keep it real. Flat out said, no, you're not reading too much into it. That kind of tells me this might be the end of Hendon Hooker.
I think it's a very big possibility. I think that last preseason you saw a little something, like a little spark there, but nothing too hot. But if they're bringing in someone like Kyle Allen, who has the track record of being a solid backup quarterback, I do think that you're not reading too much into it, and I think there is a chance, especially I think that Dan Campbell is sending him a message. I mean, the fact that Kyle Allen, like, we know it, who cares about the Hall of Fame game, but it means something to guys who are fighting for their jobs like Hendon Hooker. So I think he's sending a message there.
How many more messages does this guy have to get, too? You know, I mean,
there's been a lot of chances.
Right? There's been a lot of messages. I go back to last fall. I don't think there's too much reading into this. You went and got a guy who was coaching high school football and said, you're our number 2 the rest of the way. Man, that's a dagger. That's a dagger, and it really made me wonder where his progression was going, if there was any progression. Here's the thing. Are there guys that I'm looking at? Yeah, the Egyptian magician, for one. There's no doubt about that.
I love that nickname. It is so good.
But you know what you have to remember? This is what... And we were talking about this morning on the morning show. I joked to KG, he could go out and have 8 sacks today, right? And your initial reaction would be, oh my gosh. But then, you know what you have to do? The reality of it is, who's he playing against?
Yeah, we're starting Giovanni Manu at left tackle tonight.
We're legitimately seeing a bunch of cats out on the field tonight that are not going to be in the NFL. I'm not talking about a month from now. I'm talking about a few weeks from now. So, that's the routine. That's how it goes. So I would, I guess, implore everybody, don't read too much into things tonight. I hate to be a Debbie Downer. I know I should be sitting here saying, oh, you have to look out for this, and this is... We have graduated. Thank the good Lord. We have graduated to a real National Football League team. And real National Football League teams aren't worried about these camp battles. They know months in advance how their roster is going to look. And I'd rather have it this way. Thank you.
Yes, and shout out to Silas in the chat, $5 super chat.
He's awesome.
Hey, Sean, I need 5 touchdowns from Hooker so I can sell all these Hendon Hooker cards I'm sitting on. They're 2 games away from becoming mug coasters.
Have you ever done that? I did that.
You did that?
I not Hendon Hooker. As a hockey guy, there was a guy by the name of Pat Falloon. Did you ever hear of that name? Many years before you were born.
No, I've not.
First pick of the San Jose Sharks. I was so convinced that he was going to be a stud. I knew one of his teammates, and I had him sign like a bunch of rookie cards for me. They aren't worth the paper they're printed on today, because he was a flat-out bust. But, I mean, I'm sure Sideless is having some fun with it. But, yeah, sometimes you jump the gun. And listen, I loved Hendon Hooker at Tennessee. I'm telling you right now.
He was good.
We had a conversation. So I'm lucky enough to be a Heisman Trophy voter. We had a conversation in one of our Zoom meetings. And I'm telling you what, based on the conversation in our region, I was like, Hendon Hooker might just be the front runner. We know what happened. He blew out the knee, et cetera, et cetera. But I didn't mind the pick. I would even say, Justin, when the pick fails now, because I'm convinced it's going to, I'm not going to hate on Brad Holmes too much for that. And, I mean, obviously, his credit line is huge. He's hit on so many. To me, it was worth it in the 3rd round. All right, maybe we caught a little something. Maybe this is a guy, he's a little more mature than other guys. He's a little bit older. Knee injuries aren't what they used to be. It's just not happened for the cat, man.
Yeah, it really hasn't. And I liked him out of college, too. I mean, before he had that ACL tear, I thought that he might have had a chance. But when you're in that Heupel offense, it's kind of fool's gold out there.
It is.
And I think that you're going to see that with guys like Jackson Dart this year. And I don't know. I think that Hooker's as good as gone, and this team is very close to giving him the boot, which is very, very sad because I thought before the ACL tear he had something there.
It was worth the gamble to me, though. It was. I firmly believe it was worth the gamble, and I know a lot of people are going to cry and, it's a wasted 3rd-round pick. I feel you. I get it. But I think because we have a guy that is hitting so many different places, most importantly his early round picks, this isn't the dagger that it was in franchise history gone by.
No, we're at such a, like you say, a credit line with how also good this roster is, where it's okay that we miss on a few picks here and there. The Brad Holmes draft special is unbelievable, and he is one of the best drafters in the NFL. The one guy I really want to watch, and obviously, like we say, fool's gold, but I really want to watch Isaac Tesla play.
Sure.
I loved him at Arkansas last year. I believe from what I watched that his quarterback just wasn't that great, and he couldn't hit him on a lot of opportunities that he would have had with a more high-caliber quarterback. So I really want to see what he looks like getting the ball, and he projects to be the number one receiver tonight, so he should get plenty of looks. And I'm just hoping to see him out there against NFL competition with a semi-legitimate quarterback.
That's the one. I think you bring up a great point, Justin, because you can see a lot of cute plays and catches. And Tesla, obviously, we've seen some of those. I know KG and I in the morning, we went gaga a few days ago when that one catch was making the rounds between two guys and everything. That I think that's a legitimate point. Okay, like guys in that position, how do you fare? I don't think anybody's expecting him to come in and light it up his rookie year or anything like that. I don't want to use the word project. I think it's too easily thrown around. But I would like this guy to be part of the rotation. I think, honestly, the back end of the of the rotation could be improved, and could be improved by a young guy like him.
I 100% agree, and I think that just how he measures as an athlete, he can really show you something, and how he can be valuable on even gimmicky trick play types where he's just in the game as a decoy and then at some points getting the ball and making some plays with it. I really want to see Isaac Tesla, especially he'll never see number one wide receiver reps on this offense, barring major injury. But if he is able to show some stuff where he can be a facet of this offense, he is such a good athlete where he has, like you said, I was listening to you in the morning, impact, just some type of impact, some rotational impact where you use him a few times, you see some flashes. That's all I want to see from a guy like Isaac Tesla.
By the way, can I point something out? I'll say it again. The things that happen behind the scenes here, you guys, like some of the conversations we have, KG is a fucking interior decorator, man.
Yes, he is.
You should see, he's setting everything up in here. We got the watch party going on. There's some food going on. KG's running the booth, then he's running over to the other booth, and then he's setting things up, and he's putting up all the banners and the chairs and everything. Well done, KG.
Yeah, we appreciate you,
This
KG.
is, you know what? A lot of guys are doing this. Like Justin, I'll tell you point blank, one of my buddies called me earlier today and was like, hey, dude, I'm watching the game with my boys tonight. You want to fly over? And I was like, I'll fly over later. I'm doing the show with Justin and happy to be doing it. So, to Joe and his boys, hope you guys are checking this out and enjoying it. I'll see you in a little bit. That's what it's all about, man. It's get together, have a little food. We're not on the edge of our seats about this. The ultimate W or L in this game means absolutely nothing. Lion football's back, right? Just sit back and enjoy it.
I think it's just a rejoiceful occasion. And I guess it's nice because there's nothing on the line. Like nothing. There's no player that can get hurt that would devastate this team. There's no player who is going to define whether or not this Lion season is good or bad. And I think that's kind of nice. We're just going to be able to sit back, watch some football. It's kind of like a nice hors d'oeuvre at a nice restaurant where you're just sitting down, you're mellowing out, and I know I'm about to get made fun of, but it's okay.
No, keep going. I'm listening. Go on.
So, you're mellowing out, you get that first cocktail in you, you're sitting down, and then you just have a nice light hors d'oeuvre, maybe like a tomato salad or something like that, a caprese, and you're ready to eat.
Tomato bisque?
Yes,
something like that?
Something light, and then you're ready for the main course, that steak. That beautiful, beautiful steak, which Sean would probably just prepare himself because he probably doesn't trust other men with his meat.
No way. That's a beautiful thing about Black Rock is I can do it myself, right? When you go to Black Rock, I do it myself.
So, I think it's nice. For us this season, we're going to be on edge. We're going to be overanalyzing this team, and we're going to be locked in on every single play, and tonight it's just going to be on, and we're going to be enjoying it and just being happy Lions football is back.
Let me ask you guys in the chat. I mean, anybody who's joining us, we appreciate you as always. What are you doing tonight? Because, like, the way I've operated, Justin, I know I've said this 100 times. You guys, for years, I spent my Sundays at Ford Field. You know, whether it be doing the pregame show for Fox 2 when I was doing that with Dan and the gang, or you know, doing the pregame, the postgame on the radio side and everything. And honest to God, after years of doing it, you know what my routine is now on game day? Man, I just like, let me get out early in the morning when Neil and I are done. I already had stuff on my smoker. Let me get home, have a few guys over, the bigger games, maybe have a few more guys over, and just chill. And, you know, all right, I got some sausages here. I got some Duroc ribs here. I did a little brisket. That's been on for a while and everything. But a game like this, I think you did a good job of explaining the vibe. If you're watching us right now, how are you enjoying this game tonight? You know, what's the menu? You getting together with a few of your boys? Maybe you're sitting with your kid. Whatever the case may be, what's the vibe tonight?
We got a couple bets being placed, so I'd love to hear those. I wonder what you're getting in on action.
I think you need to get some help if you're betting on exhibition football. I got to be honest with you. Much love to you, but I think you might need some help if you're betting on preseason football.
Hey, if you are betting, use Caesar Sportsbook, Woodward 1000.
Listen to this kid. Boy, is he a pro or what?
But and we're seeing joints filled, so I mean, a lot of joints. So it seems like it's going to be a chill, mellowed game for a lot of people. They'll be enjoying it. We're going to be enjoying it. But let's talk about a little bit what people want to hear about real stuff. Like Terry McLaurin just requested a trade from the Washington Commanders. What do you think about that?
That would be a dagger. If they can't figure that out, I mean, seriously, what else do they have? I mean, they got Debo, but what do
Debo's
they
a running back. So
right.
I mean, he is not an outside receiver.
Honest to goodness, what else do you have? I'm intrigued at the Commanders, and I have to say this with a modicum of respect because I don't want to be the guy that I detest, okay? Like let me give you an example. The Minnesota Vikings, okay?
Yes. When
it comes time to talk shit to the Lions, if you're a Viking fan, you should probably sit this one out, right? I mean, can we say that? They've kind of owned you for a while in a myriad of ways. You might want to sit this one out. And I would say the same thing to somebody who wants to talk shit to a Commander fan. You know what? Right now, it might be time for us to sit this one out after what they did to us. But heading into this season, I'm going to be really intrigued to see what Daniels does for an encore, what the team does as an encore. And now with this new scenario, he's huge. He's huge to that team. So, yeah, that's going to be something to keep an eye on, man.
He is Jaden Daniels' favorite target by far.
By far.
You could even argue that he makes that offense go with the way that he is able to improvise with Jaden Daniels, the way that he's able to be a downfield threat for Jaden Daniels, and he's a great yak guy. You saw it in the NFC playoff game. And
did we?
It's just, I like you said, I think it's fair to sit out of this one because we don't have any room to talk. I think it is fair, but I think that is concerning for the Washington Commanders because another domino that fell was Courtland Sutton. He got paid way less than Terry McLaurin was asking for. Stats, very similar. So it's going to be interesting seeing how that plays out.
I'm intrigued at the Commanders this year. I think, this is the time of year, and we were talking about that stupid one today that had the Lions at number 9. But I think on principle, I have to say right now, I couldn't blame one human being for saying I'll put the Commanders ahead of the Lions. I couldn't blame. I think by year's end that might be different. I do. I really, truly do.
I think we're just a better team than the Commanders.
Do too.
I think Jaden Daniels is spectacular. But I do not think that when we are fully healthy that they are a better team than us.
We, in this fan base right now, I think we're all guilty in varying degree of forgetting how good this team was before the injury started.
We're a top 5 defense.
Listen, we're all guilty of it. We are. I mean, when you think back, go back and what they did to Tennessee, and I know what you're going to – Tennessee was a bad team. Okay, what they did to Dallas. In Jerry World.
Dismantling them.
Absolute I think we're all guilty of kind of forgetting how good this team was and really how good this team was at times after the fact. I know they were shaky against the Bears. We all know what happened in the Bills game, how they took the Vikes to the woodshed in that winner-take-all game. I mean, that was breathtaking and mind-boggling.
And
but
they were still down injuries, so many of them, and they still found a way against
historic.
that Vikings team.
And now you're bringing guys back. And not everything is back, okay? I would feel a lot better if Alim McNeil was here at the beginning of the year. Now you're hearing anywhere between the first week of November and Thanksgiving. You know, those are the types of things that you're hearing about. I would feel better if that was a scenario, but I can't stress this to people enough. A year ago at this time, a lot of us were saying, you know what, as good as Hutch has been, I want him to go out there and play like number one player type stuff, right? And he went out there and played like that until the injury. So, you know, when you got a guy like that, and he's just going to make everybody better around him. The defensive backfield's going to be better. I think that Jack Campbell went like this to this last year, and I think you're going to see that. I don't think enough is being said about that, the jump that Jack Campbell set.
And the fact that Dan Campbell came out and said that this is Jack Campbell's defense in the middle of a contract negotiation with Alex Anzalone, I think that speaks so much more volume than if Anzo was in the building. I think that honestly shows that there is a transition of the guard that is happening on that defense, and it is Jack Campbell. And I can't wait to see what he does this year. I think that he's going to elevate himself again, and I'm really excited to see what 46 can do on that field.
The biggest concern with this team, we all know it, and I really do believe that people are underselling it. If we were going to spend the last 2 years saying that our center was, if not the best in the league, in the top 2 or top 3, then we can't just dismiss it when he decides to call it quits.
Yes.
And that to me, that's a concern, especially up the middle, because I think everybody knows Jared Goff, and I've had this conversation more times than you can shake a stick at, okay? No, I get it. No quarterback likes pressure, okay? Some quarterbacks deal with pressure better than other quarterbacks, okay? Especially when you're bringing that pressure up the middle. So, yeah, I do think there's going to be a period of adjustment. Justin, I don't think it's going to be as long as people think. I really don't, because I like the talent that they have in there. But this is a continuity thing. You know, we had a line that was pretty familiar with each other the last few years. Now, you tweak it a little bit, and you take out a freaking legend as far as I'm concerned in Frank Ragnow. So,
Zeitler, who
Ragnow's, though, I think everybody, he's 100%. Next level, right? No disrespect to him, but I mean, he's a freaking legend. And there's going to be a period of adjustment. There's going to have to be, a period of, okay, let's get our reps in until we can build that continuity and completely work as the cohesive unit and everything. There's a lot to like about this team, man. I get it. Everybody talks about the schedule. One of the things that we know year in, year out, what we think the schedule is this time of year and what it is in actuality in September are two different things. And then it can change again by November, man. I mean, wow, what happened to this team? Or, oh, shit, this team's a lot better than we thought.
Well, that's exactly what the Bills did with us. I'm sure in the beginning of the year with all the hype train that was going into the Detroit Lions, and then we come back on the Texans and we're looking like one of the best teams in football, and then we sustain a couple injuries, and all of a sudden the Bills walk in here and honestly just do whatever they want with our defense, and we are cooked. And it was just, hopefully we're not living in that reality again, because last year was harsh, just watching our defense just get ran through by the Bills and by the Commanders and even the Vikings to sorts if Sam Darnold didn't turn himself inside out.
It was still unbelievable. I mean, watching that Sunday night game. No, listen, and now is as good a time as any to bring up the same conversation that we've had, I think, for a while now. If they go 11-6, who cares? Find a way to win the division. That I think that's very important. Even if you don't, it's not the end of the world. I mean, we've seen teams, wild card teams, make those runs so many times. The ultimate success or failure of this team is going to be predicated on what happens in January and February. Period.
And I 100% agree. It has to be. And to the fans who wouldn't trade, winning a Super Bowl and then becoming a losing franchise for the next 10 years,
I'm done.
See, no, I am.
I would check out. So when I say check out, it's not like I'd stop watching them, but honestly, I don't think I'd ever get angry again.
I think my emotional investment is at the highest point that it is at any point of me being a Lions fan. I think right now we are on the precipice of something so great, and I know it. And I think the entire fan base knows it, and the people that are scared and the ones who want 10 years of just sustained, being good but not being great and going to that level of being a Super Bowl are just, they don't believe in this team.
Right.
They don't believe that they can be good for 10 years, even if they do go for it. And I think that with the ebbs and flows of this sport, when you do go for it, you're seeing with the Rams. They're coming back up. If you just draft well, which Brad Holmes has proven he does every single time, then why not go for it and try to win that Super Bowl?
That's why, as much as people don't like to hear it, okay, I'm happy with the trade, don't get me wrong. But when you're talking about quote-unquote winning trades, the Rams got a Super Bowl. That's the ultimate win, period. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't do a redo, okay?
Nope.
I wouldn't do a redo. I'd like the trade, all right? But when we have these conversations, as much as this fan base, almost 100%, I know there are still some people out there, have either done as I did, hey, Jared, I'm sorry. I thought you were a broken man. I thought you were done. And he was, okay? Those last couple years, it was ugly.
He was a shell of himself.
And you know what? Jared, I'm sorry. You're my QB1, man, and I'm glad you're my QB1, all right? I think there are so many people like that. I wrap my arms around them. I'm happy. I like the deal. But you make a deal to win a Super Bowl. Yes. And the Rams, that was but one of a couple deals that they made that eventually ended up in a Super Bowl. So, to me, that's what it's all about. That's why, Justin, honest to God, and I don't think NBC on a night like tonight would be the place to do it. I am so tired of hearing these talking heads talk about the window. Like, to me, do a little research. You would
said
have
that about
a
the
point.
Bills last year.
You would have a point if you looked at, a 28, 29, 30-year-old receiver. You would have a point if you looked at guys with, lots of wear and tear on them in the backfield. You'd have a very legitimate point. But all the youth on this team sprinkled all over the place. How on earth do people continue to have that conversation? It's gross to me, to be honest with you. That's all right. No, I can keep talking. Which pie did you take a bite of? No,
is the Buddies. The Buddies.
No, I'm looking at that. Which pie is that
the
one?
Detroiter.
Oh, dude, that's solid.
That thing is
because you
awesome.
know what you get the
God.
old world pepperoni and the pepperoni underneath, right?
Yeah,
Isn't that the one?
Little Sicilian seasoning.
Money.
Oh my God, yeah.
Money.
Yeah,
the funny thing is, so Justin went. They have the watch party here, right? And I think who's going to be KG. Easy,
Anson, me,
right?
Easy, Spencer. It's the heavies watch party.
You guys want something to bet on? How much of that pizza's left by the time the boys show up?
Yeah.
Justin and I are going to put on a show.
That's why I got so many pizzas.
You should hide it over there because there's a real good chance that there might not be a whole hell of a lot left. I'm going to be honest with you. But, no, you know what? This fan base, you know as well as I do, you were always going to be besieged with the guys who are, they haven't won through since the Eisenhower administration. You're going to hear that talk. I get it. I really do. But, man, all I'm going to say, all right, try to take emotion out of it. Watch this football team the last few years, man. This is NFL football. Do you remember, Justin, how many years, even in your formative years, the Lions were the 1 o'clock game, and I swear to God it felt like the JV game. It really did. It felt like felt like the JV game.
It was excruciating.
Well, the NFL game of the week or whatever the hell Fox calls it, that comes on at 4:30. That'll be the varsity game, and it looked like a JV game. We're not the JV game anymore, man. We're a legitimate National Football League franchise, and I always go back to what Dan Campbell said after we lost to Frisco. I know people didn't want to hear it, but it's not that easy to get back.
No,
it isn't. And I think the Lions heading into this season have a pretty good chip on their shoulder knowing that.
Yeah, I think they definitely have a huge chip on their shoulder, and you're hearing it in the media. I mean, we hear the receipts that we're seeing from guys like David Montgomery, a year of reckoning, and That's what you want to hear from a team. You want to hear them hungry, and I definitely think that they are more hungry than they were last offseason. And last offseason, they were, they had so many bulletin board material quotes that they were using, but I think now there's more fuel to the fire because they underachieved their goals so much. Like you always say, they were a cute story that year they made the NFC Championship game, and I think now it's just a different type of mentality. They are in an actual mindset of Super Bowl or bust, and I think that's where you have to live as a fan as well, because if they're coming out and saying it, then why do we have to settle for anything less than a Super Bowl?
No, that's the goal, period. And I love it. I welcome it. I mean that in all sincerity. There has been legitimately one time in my life where I thought the Detroit Lions, well, before the last couple of years, before that, I thought the Detroit Lions had a legitimate shot at going to a Super Bowl, and it was a year. It was right at the tail end of the Cowboys regime, and Frisco was starting to slip, and they really slipped down the stretch. And if you remember, the Lions got really hot, finished the season with 7 straight wins, and I was like, I don't give a shit if go to Philly, go beat the hell out of Philly, and we all know how that game. And if you don't know how that game ended, just look it up, okay? It was over. It was 37, nothing like that. They lost 58-37, and it wasn't that close. You're going to have to take my word for it. We never legitimately felt that way. Never. Even the 91 season. You think back to 2011 when they lost to the Saints. Well, it was cute the Lions got together. Did anybody really think, Super Bowl champion? Maybe 14 with how good Terrell Austin's defense was, and then we remember what happened down in Dallas, but we've never legitimately felt this way. The Detroit Lions are absolutely, positively a Super Bowl contender. And if you don't believe me, ask Vegas. Go look at the numbers.
They have the shiny buildings and the beautiful statues for a reason. And someone who we appreciate is Silas 5339 again with another $5 super chat. Shout out to you. Lions passed the test of being good for multiple years in a row last year. Now the Commanders have to pass this test, as well as the Vikings, who usually fail. And I know what you think about the Vikings, and I believe the same thing. I don't think that they're going to be able to get it done in the big moment. And there's a lot of chatter about that. Honestly, I've seen so many people on the interwebs that are saying that the Minnesota Vikings have a better offensive line, a better defensive line, and they're just glazing every single part of their team. I've been seeing KOC is a better coach than Dan Campbell, and I'm just rubbing my head. I'm like, did we not, beat them 4 in the row, and just showed that anytime the pressure goes on, they're the team that folds, and they're going to break in a rookie quarterback who I love, JJ. Don't get me wrong. He won Michigan a national championship, but he's still a rookie. He has shown nothing at the NFL level yet, and you just think he's going to walk in and win the toughest division in football? And then, you look around the rest of the league division. You got Jordan Love, another unproven quarterback.
Huge questions about him coming into this year, man.
Every single team has a question mark at quarterback, and this is the team that is being talked about as the team that's going to regress. And I cannot understand it. Every single team in this division has a question mark at quarterback. We know what Jared Goff is. We know what you need to do to make Jared Goff successful, and the Lions are set up to do so. So I don't understand why the Lions are this huge regression candidate outside of the fact that Frank Ragnow retired.
I like KOC a lot. I said that all last year, even when I was poking fun at the Minnesota Vikings. I like KOC a lot, and I want you guys to think about this. I think many of us, and Justin, I don't know if you were one of them, I think many of us were a little hypocritical in regards to KOC, and I'll tell you why. If on one hand we're going like this to the Vikings, going, oh, look at, aren't you cute? You're just not that good. Sam Darnold. On the other hand, we have to go, well, how the hell did they go 14-3?
Yes.
It had to have been something that the coach did. And
I'm not dismissing that they're good.
You know what I'm saying? No, to me, I think KOC did a hell of a job.
Yes.
Did I like that he got Coach of the Year? I didn't like it. No. Do I understand it? I did.
Yes.
Because I think what he did was Sam freaking Darnold. Man, that there's a lot of love that's got to be thrown that man's way. So I'm with you. I don't think. Do you know what I think this division is? Honestly, I don't. How about I'm going to make a bad comparison, but I'm going to try anyway. The AL Central, okay? I think last year the NFC North was inflated. I don't think it was that good, okay? And I'm not saying it's going to be as bad as the AL Central is right now because, you guys, the AL Central stinks. It is. It stinks. And last year, it was the benefactor of having a historically bad Chicago White Sox team in the division. It is a terrible division. So I don't want to go that far and say it's a terrible division. But, Justin, I've said this 100 times in the morning. I know a lot of guys up in the UP and that are Packer fans. And I can't tell you, when I have conversations with these guys, a lot of the hockey guys, they all tell me the same thing. They're like, man, I don't know about Jordan Love. I watched him game in, game out. I don't know about Jordan Love. And I think we all assumed, not only their fan base, but maybe us, we all assumed, well, shit, they did it again. You know, Favre to Rodgers to Love.
There were always feelings of that in his first season.
Right. Dude, that Thanksgiving game. Remember what he did to us on Thanksgiving?
I was thinking the same thing. I was like,
pants.
there's no way. They did it again. But he's regressed, and now he's a question mark. And I think that the Lions have few question marks, and I want to bring up, we already have a bet together.
All right.
We have the Jameson Williams
I love it.
to win Offensive Player of the Year, which I believe there will be a point in next year's season.
I literally threw a $10 bill at you like you were a stripper. No, really and truly. I mean, if you guys weren't watching that day, Justin told me that number. I immediately grabbed my wallet, crumbled up $10, and threw it at Justin.
Yep, and I deposited it immediately, and I put it down on Jameson Williams, Offensive Player of the Year. Just the number is just too ridiculous. I believe it's plus 2,200 or something like that.
Yeah, something absurd.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But I want to throw another one at you because I think this one's interesting, and it is the Lions to score 1+ rushing touchdown in every regular season game this year. It is plus 1,000 on Caesars Sportsbook. Use Woodward 1,000 for a free bet that you could get back in a bonus bet up to $1,000. And they were one off of that last year. The home Bears game was the only game they did not score a rushing touchdown in last year.
Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yeah, it was Thanksgiving.
Yes. What do you think about that?
I love the fact. Now, don't tell David this because I want him to stay pissed, okay? I love the fact that David Montgomery, it feels like he's not getting the love that he deserves. I do.
He's a chip on your shoulder type of guy.
And you know what's funny? I kind of took the wrong tack. I said, David, come down. Just drive down Woodward. We're going to have a party for you one day. We'll send Justin over to Buddy's. You know, I'll smoke a bunch of meat. We are going to have a David Montgomery Appreciation Day. That shouldn't be the tack that I take, Justin. You know what I should say? Boo, you're done. Old man, too much wear and tear. Boo, boo, boo. Because he's going to be one pissed off guy. I would jump on that. What's the number on that Caesars? What's that? I keep asking you things while you got pizza in your mouth, dude. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Plus 1,000. That's pretty good odds for them being one touchdown off last year. And I truly do believe it's going to go back even more to regress to the basics of this offense when Johnny Moe actually put the offense in. I think that's one I'm going to.
All right. So now let me play devil's advocate. If there is that period of waiting for this line, that's a good question. Does that make you hedge your bet a little bit? Because I think, again, early on, you cannot expect this line.
No, you cannot.
When you lose two players like that, you cannot expect this line to do business as usual at the start of the year. You can't.
Also, we have to think of more of a vegetarian mindset from David Montgomery because he's a vegetarian.
All right.
So we're gonna have to change our approach. Well,
all right.
Or you could smoke us some meats to piss him off because you can't eat it.
No, you know what I'll do? I believe it. I love asparagus sprouts. I have this asparagus sprout thing that I put in my smoker
good.
that works real well. I can do it on the grill. No, we can hook something up, but
jalapeno poppers maybe.
See that has me hedging my bet a little bit. Now that I think about it, I'm kind of backing away.
You're backing away?
Maybe early in the year, you mix in that one game where, okay, we didn't get the rushing touchdown that game.
See,
you know what I'm saying?
is I don't I guess the one that would give me pause is it going to be ready for week 3 against the Ravens.
Okay.
I think you're going to get one in week 1 and week 2. I think that their defensive lines of the Packers and the Bears aren't good enough to stop this offensive line as is, which I think it's still upper end of the league at least, and you could probably argue it as right now, they're going to get better, and they're going to continue to progress throughout the season. I think we all believe that as the chemistry goes up, as the rookies get more experience, because essentially Mahogany is a rookie. In my mind, I view him as that, but obviously it's a second-year player.
But you have to think that way. There's no doubt. I don't care what anybody says. I agree with that. You're a first-time starter, man.
Yes.
Like it's a different world now. It's a different world, and you're gonna ask Glasgow. I mean, the good thing that I like about this franchise in recent years is that they like those durable, flexible guys up front. Glasgow can do a myriad of things. Tate Ratledge eventually is going to hold down that spot. We all know it, and that's just going to be his spot for many, many years. But
I like the athletic upside with Ratledge a ton at center to be able to help wherever he needs to solo block. I think just the versatility he gives you as a center as he's able to learn the game. Obviously, I can't see inside his head and see how his mental is and how smart his football IQ is, but what I do see is the athletic upside, and then the fact that he's saying Tyleik Williams in the media is saying that he got his NFL moment from Tate Ratledge.
Yeah.
It wasn't from an actual NFL pro, which that's another story. We could talk about that at a different time, but I think that does speak to how already NFL ready Tate Ratledge was and is, and that's a guy who I mocked to the Lions a couple times. I didn't put my name on. I'm as Woodward Sports admin sometimes, and so is Trav, so shout out to Trav.
What up, Trav?
But Tate Ratledge always was a guy who was a freak athletic upside, and that's what gets me so excited about him and that role, because when you have such a dirtbag in Mahogany next to him and then a versatile guy like Glasnow who's kind of wearing down in the athletic state, you're going to be able to use Ratledge in the way that you have to, and I think that it's just going to be a great combination eventually for this offensive line. But when do you think it's going to be at a speed where you feel comfortable week in, week out, this is a Detroit Lions offensive line? Or is that hard to say? You need to see the tape.
It's hard. I think for sure after the bye week. I love that the bye week. Very privately, I can tell you this when I was there each and every day doing all the stuff that I used to do. Very privately, I can tell you the guys always hated when the bye week was. They hated it. They didn't want it early. You want it a few weeks later. This bye week is at a perfect time this year. It really is at a perfect time. I think you'll see improvement after the first couple of weeks, but man, by that time rolls around and then you get that week off, which is just so integral. I mean, the wear and tear, you can't understand it until you see it day in, day out. I think that'll be, to your point, the quote-unquote Detroit Lion line. You're going to see signs of it beforehand. I want to be crystal clear. I'm not saying that the line's going to suck, okay? I think there are too many. Anytime you have a line.
Floor is top 15.
Right.
Like, that's a floor, and that's a good place to be living.
Anytime you have a line with Penei Sewell on it alone, let alone the other vets on there, there's no way in hell you could say something like that. But I think you're going to watch this line go up. Back into the rarefied air that it's been the last few years.
I completely agree, and I think that the schedule has been blown out of proportion. I think it's set up very nicely for you to succeed in it with lots of clumps of games where, all right, you're going to take some losses, but there's wins baked in there that people don't see, because I think that a lot of people hear that the NFC North is the hardest division in football, but in reality, we've dominated it for the past 2 years. And where I think the Lions' floor in those games is 4-2. 4-2 is still an unreal record against your division.
I hate to repeat myself. I do not think that this division is good as people make it out to be.
I don't think it is either.
I just don't. I'm sorry. I don't. Now, you know where I look at, Justin, to me, where I look at this is after you get that doozy, okay? November 9th and November 16th at Washington, at Philly. I want you, Giants at home, Packers at home, Cowboys at home. At Rams is a little scary. I'm sorry, I'm not buying into the Aaron Rodgers-led Steelers at all. At Vikings, at Bears. You could finish with a stretch of 6 or 7 wins in a row, man.
100%.
I mean that in all sincerity. And
it's surviving the beginning.
Yep.
The beginning is where, when your offensive line is still unproven. I think that is where we're going to. But you still have a free win in there in the Browns. Like, you're going to, obviously, it's at home as well, that you can literally check that off as a win.
I think the first 2 weeks, I'm not going to lie.
I think it is
Green
too.
Bay and having Chicago
I think you're
come
going
here,
to still start the year 4-1, and I think that the question marks are going to be gone because the Bengals it's a front half Bengals game, so you're not hitting the good Bengals team, so you'll probably go in and you beat them, and at that point, you're 5-1 playing KC. That is a beautiful reality to be in.
And Cincinnati's defense is horrific. They
are so bad. Their GM doesn't know that you have to take defensive players to be successful. Like, yeah, you drive Shamar Stewart, but did nothing else. Won't pay Hendrickson. I don't even know what they're doing down there in Cincinnati.
I joked about it this morning. It wasn't a joke. It's a real statement. Like, Neil and I, the texts that we send each other over the weekend, one of the funnest texts that we do is Joe Burrow's doing Joe Burrow things again. And what I mean by that is, like, if Joe Burrow doesn't score on his first possession, chances are the Bengals are down 10-0 or 14-0. And then Joe Burrow has to come roaring back, yes. And in the meantime, they can't stop anybody. But that was almost a weekly occurrence last year, man. It was like, if the Bengals are slow out the gate, guess what? They could be down 10-0 or 14-0 on the first two
Burrow
possessions.
in fantasy because he throws all game.
Love it.
It's pretty nice. I can't lie.
Fantastic.
But I'm with you. I think this schedule. So what is your record prediction? Obviously, it's hard to go like game by game and get everyone right but just like estimate. Like,
I had in the 11 or 12 range, and I'm sticking with it.
I think 12 is my number. I think that you're going to incur some losses in here. I think that they're going to lose to Baltimore in week 3. I just think after the 2 brutal divisional games, which is going to be their absolute focus is winning those divisional games because they know how big that is, losing an AFC game is not going to do anything. It might cause some stir in the media, but everyone knows this team is good enough to succeed regardless of that. But if you get through that, you are crystal for when you play KC. I don't buy Tampa. I think Tampa is total fool's gold. They got Wirfs on IR for the first 6 to 8 weeks. I don't think he's even going to play in this game against the Lions.
I like Baker.
I love Baker.
I really do.
I love Baker.
Like, I'm not being funny.
Without Tristan, that's like asking Goff to be elite without Penei Sewell.
I never thought those words would come out of my mouth because I thought he was a douche. And that there's a moxie, there's a swagger.
So gritty. I love Baker.
I really do like Baker, and that's what you have to. It's funny, when we were doing the pregame last year, I said before the game, and mind you, I'm not saying that the upset was going to happen, but I said I think we're overlooking this team in Baker Mayfield, and obviously that was one of their 2 losses. But I like Baker a lot, but I tend to agree with you. I don't think Tampa's beating them again. I just don't.
So I think worst case we're talking here, we're 6-2 going into the bye. I don't think anyone is complaining about a 6-2 Lions team. And then you have that devil stretch right there where you got the Vikings, the Commanders, and the Eagles. But then, like you said, you could easily rip off 6 or 7 wins. That's 12 wins right there. It's so in reach, and that's why I don't see the tough schedule talk. I don't see the regression talk because they are going to progress by just the players being off injuries. And I think that the recency bias of New Age media has just taken over all. Like, it was so funny. And shout out to my brother-in-law, soon-to-be brother-in-law, Max Good. He's a Bears fan. We were up north, and he was drunk.
No, I'm not giving him a shout-out. Fuck the Bears. Never.
That's fair.
Never.
But he was drunk, and he was saying that, oh yeah, like it's a better chance that the Bears like progress better than the Lions regress or something like that. And I was like, dog, come on. Like, you have so many question marks.
Justin, you know what the thing is to me? Like, I again, we've graduated to real. I don't give a shit what the record is. I don't.
It only matters what happens to the playoffs.
Right.
We could be a wild card team for all I care.
I want you to win the division. Don't get me wrong.
I do.
want it's not. It's not imperative. I want you to. It definitely helps. It doesn't. That's one thing. I think this regular season is going to be miserable, and here's why I tell you this way. Let's say for the sake of argument, they go. You're right. They go 12-5. Forget 11-6. They go 12-5. Do you know how many people are going to be crying about that during the course of the season?
Oh, I know.
People in the chat. I can't believe. Are you guys dumb? They went 15-2 last year. They lost 3 games, and you guys are talking about Super Bowl. And I'm just going to go, you can't be a real human. You got to be a bot in the chat or something, because it's like you could be 11-6 and be infinitely better than that team that went 15-2 last year because of injuries.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Did the Eagles have a better record than the Lions last year?
No.
Did the Lions win the Super Bowl last year?
No.
So that means that the best record doesn't mean that you win the Super Bowl.
No. Wild cards can't win the Super Bowl either, right? I mean, how many times have we seen? It's funny you say that, because honest to God, we were talking about this like on Big D Energy last year when I was sitting in with Neil. All the dudes that just dismissed the Eagles were just dumb. Now, again, did I think Philly was going to win the Super Bowl? No, but people forgot what a real good team that was. Remember, they had that incredible run, and I know it fell apart late, but Sirianni lost that team. They're done. The National Football League doesn't work that way, man. When you got talent, when you got a good coach, when you got a good general manager, you're going to stay relevant. And that's exactly what the Philadelphia Eagles did. And speaking as such, let's go down that. Do we have talent? Check. Do we have a good coach? Check. Do we have a good general manager? Check. That's why I feel so confident about this team this year. But again, Justin, I swear to God, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. If they lose even in the NFC Championship, I'm not going to feel good about it. It's Super Bowl or bust, man. I'm sorry. Those are the seas that we're paddling in right now. No doubt about it. It's Super Bowl or bust. Anything short of that, and I'm sorry. I'm not going to call that a success. I can't.
No, you can't be hypocritical, and I don't think anyone last year would have called that season a success. Don't care if it was the best record that the Lions have ever had in franchise history. It doesn't matter.
Nope.
We got whooped in the first round by the Commanders. I had to sit there on the watch party last year while the Commanders fans came in and raided us and talked. Rightfully so. I mean, shout out to Neil. I mean, he did a number on him, but it was pretty brutal sitting there getting all these chats.
Take your medicine.
And we took the medicine.
Yep.
And Spencer was crashing out on stick. And it was hilarious. But it was from such a place of sadness and rage. It was not okay that we didn't get it done. And I think that's why, again, you're seeing all these question marks coming around, especially around Jared Goff. And I think that he has done enough to be given at least some line of credit. He has done so much for this team week in, week out. And I think everyone knows, and I think everyone believes that if this Lions defense is good enough, that Jared Goff can lead us to a Super Bowl. But it is on the back of the defense, not on the back of the offense.
We had some really weird arguments about that last year. I think the people that say a lot of it was Jared Goff's fault are wrong. He was part of the problem. Like and like people almost felt like dirty saying that. He was part of the problem. I mean, make no mistake about that. I don't know.
It's hard to admit. It really is.
And you know what? Patrick Mahomes has been part of the problem for some of the big Chief losses, okay? Tom Brady was part of the problem for some of the Pats losses, okay? Now, I'm not saying that he's the same guy. I'm not comparing him to those two guys, but what I am saying is both things can be true. I'm glad he's QB1. I mean that. I never thought those words would come out of my mouth. I'm glad he's QB1, but I also have to acknowledge that, listen, that fumble was a dagger. That was a dagger. I will go to my grave saying that game, the trajectory of that game, even with the bad start, the trajectory of the game changed on that play. I will go to my grave saying that. But that doesn't mean, I want him gone. That's it. You know what? Had a bad moment. It happens. And the reality is there's nothing. Jared Goff could have gone out that game and thrown 600 yards and had a perfect passer rating. And do you know what people still would have said, Justin? You can't win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff. There's only one way to get those people in our fan base to shut up. And you know what it is? It's to win a Super Bowl.
100%.
That's it.
And we'll see. Like, that's the great reality that Jared Goff is in. He will have every single chance to prove that he is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He will be put in positions where he has to win his games. That is what you have to do over the course of a Super Bowl run. There is times where he is going to have to make a throw, and there's times that he's going to have to avoid a sack to make a play. Even though he gets, all this talk about how he's not mobile, there are times where he just has to evade the rush by moving up in the pocket, and we're going to have to see him make those timely plays. He's done it in the past. He did it to get us to the NFC Championship game 2 years ago, and it's in him. He shows it every single time, but I think that there is some level, like, he is not Mahomes. He is not Josh Allen. He is not going to come in and absolutely carry you to a Super Bowl. I think that's too much to ask for him. But if you ask him to put your team in a position to win, playing team football, that is where you can succeed with Jared Goff, and I firmly believe that.
Do you know who the defending Super Bowl champions are?
Jalen Hurts, or the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, so now you know what the next question is going to be. Who was the quarterback of the defending Super Bowl champions?
Jalen Hurts. And he is a guy among his peers who was voted as the 9th best quarterback in the NFL.
Like, stop
behind Jared Goff.
That's where we're
at.
That
defense was unbelievable. And when you are put in a position where you're playing a depleted Chiefs team, because that team was depleted, that team was being carried on Patrick Mahomes' back by himself last year, and you are looking at a team who dismantled them. It was over in the first quarter. They were up by 21 points in a Super Bowl. They were dominating.
Let's be honest, the heater that team went on was epic.
Historic.
Epic. And early in the year, do you remember how bad they were? The first few weeks of the year, that was a bad team, and people were thinking, oh, here's the carryover. Remember what happened, how last season ended and everything? But I think that goes to show you, man, I'm sorry. If Jalen Hurts can win a Super Bowl, gosh damn it, Jared Goff can win a Super Bowl.
100%. And I think that this defense is set up to. I think the defense, you can argue, when it's fully healthy, is better than the offense, especially with the loss of Frank Ragnow. I think with this defense fully healthy, that unit is your best unit.
That's a big statement.
I mean,
KG, what do you think about that? I hate to put you on the spot. No, walk over here, KG. Poor KG's doing everything. He's doing the interior decorating.
I just think
he's making wedding cakes back there.
My fat ass eating now, so
KG,
it's all good.
Death not an option. Pick one. Defense stronger or offense stronger?
Fully healthy.
Fully healthy.
Oh, offense, hands down.
I can't see. I'm with you. I can't join you. I can't.
All right, you can call me crazy, but the amount of all pros that are out there is comparable to the offense. With a fully healthy Hutch, with a fully healthy Lee McNeil, we have one of the best defensive lines in the NFL when they're healthy, regardless of who the other edge is. If it's literally a limp body, they are still one of the best defensive lines in the NFL. I think this cornerback unit takes a huge step. They have the best safety unit in the NFL.
I love TA. I thought that there was way too much slander thrown on him. As the season went on, people had to shut their mouth. It's the most difficult position for a rookie, man. I mean, those aren't my words. My guy, Lomas Brown, always told me, all right, I worked with Lo for a little while. Tight ends and corners, man. There's just too much going on. Their brains can't handle it at first, and there's a period of adjustment. So I think TA takes it. I don't think you're crazy for saying it, okay? Like, I've ripped on you for slappy things in the past.
Impact.
I've ripped on you for slappy things in the past. I don't think this is one of the slappy ones.
I think there is a legitimate argument to make. And I think that, especially with the way that Jack Campbell is expected to take a step, I think there's a lot more room for growth when it comes to the offense to the defense than it does for the offense. The defense is where you will see the most growth, where you may see a slight regression due to Frank Ragnow not being in there.
I get it.
For the offense.
KG said we have to wrap it up, so you know what that means? I go and reach for my dip.
Yes.
Because they don't want me dipping on camera.
Well, that's great. And I appreciate you, Sean. I appreciate everyone in the chat.
Great work with you, pal.
Yeah, it was a great show.
Are you going to be in the morning with me?
Yes, I will be.
Good. I look forward to it.
I'll be here in the morning, but make sure you stay tuned for the heavyweights. They're about to come at you with this watch party. We appreciate you being here for the Lions pregame show.
Thanks, KG.
KG, the GOAT over there, making sure that he's got it handled over there. But thank you for your time. We will catch you in the next one. Peace.
Congratulations to the real coach of the year, Motor City Dan
What a
Campbell.
joke. Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be
That's all
fun,
right.
man.
That's
It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.